Welcome to my channel. If you enjoy this story, don't forget to subscribe and like. Arthur Kane, chief engineer of the Intergalactic Transit Station, slammed his fist into the control panel, sparking a tiny flare. "Damn alien tech!" he muttered, his deep voice echoing in the sterile white room. The transit gate, a shimmering Verillian construct pulsing with blue light, flickered like a dying firefly. 6 hours of sweat-soaked calibration, and it still resisted him like a stubborn mule. Sweat trickled down his brow, soaking into his neatly trimmed blonde beard. Arthur, broad-shouldered with close-cropped golden hair, took a deep breath, wrestling back his frustration. The People's Republic of America, PRA, Interplanetary Diplomatic Corps had handpicked him for his unmatched skill, and failure wasn't in his vocabulary. Especially not with Verillian Ambassador Zara due in less than 20 minutes. A broken gate wouldn't just stain his record, it'd be a diplomatic slap in the face, threatening the fragile alliance between humans and Verillians. The gate, the pinnacle of Verillian human tech, symbolized humanity's ambition to conquer interstellar travel. The PRA, a fledgling nation born from the ashes of the United States after an economic civil war, was fighting to prove itself in the galactic community. One misstep could tip the scales against them in the eyes of other species. Arthur ran a hand through his hair, tweaking a dial on the panel with surgical precision. The gate groaned, its energy field wavering between stable blue and erratic purple. "Come on, you stubborn bastard," he whispered. His wristwatch buzzed faintly, 15 minutes left. He stood tall, wiping sweat with the back of his hand. His white technician's uniform clung to his muscular frame, accentuating his athletic build. Grabbing a rag from his toolkit, he mopped his face and slung it around his neck. "Diagnostics complete. Calibration at 98%. The facility's AI announced, its mechanical voice reverberating. "Finally," Arthur grumbled, flashing a faint smile. The room, buried deep in Earth's diplomatic reception center in New Chicago, was a stark contrast. Humanity's pristine white design clashed with the angular, glittering Verillian architecture. Suddenly, the gate's energy field stabilized, bathing the room in a soothing blue glow. The hum steadied, reassuring. "Gate stabilized, ready for transit," the AI confirmed. Arthur exhaled, checking his watch, 8 minutes to go. He snapped to attention, ready to greet Ambassador Zara and her entourage. But the gate's blue light surged, its rhythm accelerating. Arthur frowned. This wasn't the standard activation sequence he'd memorized. The energy field began to swirl, forming a vortex absent from any technical manual. "Warning, anomalous energy signature detected," the AI reported, its calm tone at odds with the alarming message. "What the hell?" Arthur stepped forward, reaching for the emergency shutdown. But before his fingers grazed the panel, the gate flared blindingly, forcing him to shield his eyes. As the light faded, he lowered his hand, and his jaw nearly hit the floor. Standing in the transit chamber wasn't the stately Ambassador Zara, but a stark naked Verillian woman. Her peach-colored skin glistened with transport fluid. Long white hair cascaded past her shoulders, interwoven with delicate tentacles streaked with pale purple. Her large green eyes blinked rapidly, staring at Arthur in bewilderment. "Something's wrong," she whispered, her voice melodic yet tinged with embarrassment, her hands fumbling to cover herself. Arthur's face burned. He yanked the rag from his neck and tossed it to her, spinning around to preserve her dignity. "I wasn't expecting you," he stammered, his professionalism evaporating. "Where's the ambassador?" She wrapped the rag around herself, though it barely covered her. "The ambassador? Oh, this is worse than I thought." She stepped out of the chamber, her gaze shifting from embarrassment to urgency. "I'm Lyrian, security officer with the Verillian Diplomatic Corps. And I think someone just tried to sabotage your diplomatic summit." Arthur blinked, his mind reeling. "Sabotage? What are you talking about?" Lyrian clutched the rag tightly. "Ambassador Zara's coordinates were altered. If she steps through the gate, she'll be trapped in a pocket dimension. It's a setup." Her eyes darted around, as if enemies might materialize any second. Arthur checked the gate's status display. She's due in 10 minutes. Got any proof? Lyrian gave a wry smile, gesturing at herself. You think I showed up like this on purpose? The conspirators caught me when I uncovered their system. They didn't have time to detain me, so they shoved me through the nearest gate, yours, after disabling the matter reconstruction protocol. The part that generates clothes. Arthur's eyes flicked downward involuntarily, then snapped back up. Sorry. No worries, Lyrian said, her voice unexpectedly warm. In Verillian culture, nudity's no big deal. Your reaction, it's kind of adorable. Her smile eased the tension in the air. Arthur's cheeks flushed again. We need proper clothes for you and to alert security. He strode to a wall panel, retrieved an emergency jumpsuit, and handed it to her without looking. Not high fashion, but it'll do. Thanks, Lyrian said, slipping into the oversized suit behind him. I find human modesty oddly charming. Arthur keyed his comms. Kane here. Issue with the Verillian delegation. Possible sabotage. I need Commander Daniels now. Negative, Kane. The response crackled. Daniels is escorting the ambassador's advance team from the landing pad. ETA 5 minutes. Damn it, Arthur muttered. We've got to warn them before they send Zara through. Too late, Lyrian said, now dressed in the baggy jumpsuit. She moved to the gate's control panel with surprising familiarity. The conspirators will be monitoring all comms. I can recalibrate the coordinates, but I need your help. I'm security, not tech. Arthur joined her, catching a faint scent, cinnamon mixed with ozone. All right, let's do this. They worked in tandem, Lyrian's fingers dancing across the Verillian interface while Arthur tweaked the technical parameters. You know, she said, eyes fixed on the screen. In Verillian culture, collaborating like this is considered intimate. Intimate? Arthur asked, trying to focus. Sharing knowledge, she explained, smirking. We find intellectual exchange more intimate than physical contact. Arthur nearly botched a setting. So we're dating now? Her laugh rang like bells. Maybe. Though I usually prefer dinner first. Their eyes met, and Arthur felt a spark of connection, deeper than the crisis demanded. Warning! Incoming transit request! The AI interrupted. Too soon, Arthur said, snapping back to the panel. We need more time. Lyrian typed rapidly. I'll send a calibration error notice. Protocol requires a 3-minute hold. Smart, Arthur said, impressed. They pressed on, their synergy, Lyrian's security expertise and Arthur's technical prowess, forming a perfect team. As the recalibration finished, the gate hummed back to life. Lyrian grabbed Arthur's hand, squeezing gently. We've got this. As the gate's light stabilized, Ambassador Zara emerged, a towering Verillian with silver-white hair and intricately patterned tentacles. Her ornate diplomatic robes gleamed, and her sharp eyes scanned the room. Officer Lyrian, she said, nodding slightly. Your unconventional arrival is noteworthy. My apologies, Ambassador, Lyrian replied, bowing. Circumstances demanded it. No apologies needed. Zara raised a hand. Your warning reached my security team in time. A preliminary investigation confirms sabotage. Arthur stepped forward. Arthur Kane, technician. I assisted Officer Lyrian. Zara studied him. Your quick thinking averted a diplomatic disaster. The Alliance owes you a debt. Just doing my job, ma'am, Arthur said, nodding respectfully. Zara's brow furrowed, her voice lowering. This is merely the beginning. The conspiracy runs deeper than a single act. She glanced around. Is this room secure? Standard diplomatic protocol, Arthur confirmed. No surveillance. Zara's voice dropped to a whisper. This plot involves the highest levels of both our governments. A shadow group, Black Veil, seeks to undermine the Galactic Treaty. Lyrian's tentacles stiffened, an alarm signal. The peace treaty? Why? War profiteers, isolationists, those who fear unity, Zara said, her tone grim. They operate in the dark, manipulating events to sow chaos. Arthur frowned. And you think they've got people in the PRA government? I know they do, Zara stated. Which is why I trust few, even among my own ranks. She turned to Lyrian. Your unplanned arrival gives us an edge. Black Veil doesn't know you're here. What are you proposing? Lyrian asked. In 3 days, a diplomatic gala at the Nexus orbital station will gather every key official from both sides, Zara said, her gaze shifting between them. I need you two to attend undercover and identify the conspirators. Arthur blinked. Me? I'm just a tech. A tech who neutralized the gate's sabotage, Zara countered. And proved your loyalty to the Alliance. Lyrian edged closer, her shoulder brushing Arthur's. We'll need credentials, equipment. All arranged, Zara assured. You'll pose as a bonded pair, a low-ranking Verillian noble and her human consort. Such pairings are trendy since our species allied. Arthur felt his face heat up. Lyrian's cheeks shimmered with a faint purple glow, her species' version of a blush. A bonded pair, she echoed. That requires cultural preparation. I'm aware, Zara said unfazed. Your cover must be flawless. Black Veil will be watching. We'll make it work, Arthur said, his confidence masking a tangle of emotions. Posing as Lyrian's consort stirred both duty and an undeniable attraction. Zara handed each a data crystal. Your false identities and mission details. Memorize, then destroy them. She checked her chronometer. I must attend the formal reception. My arrival must appear routine. With a formal bow, she added, The Alliance's fate rests in your hands. After Zara left, silence settled between Arthur and Lyrian. So, Arthur broke the quiet. Bonded pair, huh? Lyrian smiled. In Verillian culture, such bonds are comprehensive. Comprehensive? Arthur raised an eyebrow. Intellectual, emotional, physical, she said, her green eyes bold. To pass as my consort, you'll need to understand Verillian customs, intimately. The word intimately lingered. I'm a quick study, Arthur said, his voice low, eyes locked on hers. Lyrian stepped closer, the air crackling. Some nuances data crystals can't teach. For instance, bonded pairs share an energy exchange, a biological resonance. Other Verillians will notice if we're not synchronized. Arthur swallowed hard. Resonance? It's physiological, she said, her fingers brushing his jaw, sending warmth through him. Quite pleasant. I'm game to learn, Arthur said, unwavering. For the mission. For the mission, Lyrian echoed, her gaze hinting at something deeper. But before they could continue, Arthur's comm buzzed. Kane, this is Daniels. We just picked up an encrypted signal from the gate. Someone's trying to contact the outside. You know anything? Arthur and Lyrian exchanged a glance. No, Commander, Arthur replied, keeping his tone steady. I'll check it out. As the comm cut off, Lyrian grabbed his hand. Black Veil knows I'm here. They're trying to track us. Arthur squeezed her hand back. Then we'll have to outrun them. The diplomatic penthouse, perched high above New Chicago's dazzling skyline, was a fusion of human opulence and Verillian comfort. Floor-to-ceiling glass windows framed towers aglow with neon, while the air hung warm and humid, tailored to Verillian biology. Arthur Kane let out a low whistle as they stepped inside. Nice digs. Thwarting conspiracies comes with perks, huh? Thwarting conspiracies, Lyrian corrected, her smile playful as she set down a secure briefcase. This place is designed for Verillian guests but accommodates humans. Notice the temperature? Like a Louisiana summer, Arthur said, loosening his collar. Not bad, just different. Uncomfortable? Lyrian asked, a flicker of concern in her green eyes. Nah, he reassured her. Part of the cultural exchange, right? Her eyes sparkled. Exactly. She activated a pocket device, emitting a soft pulse. Security fields up. We can talk mission freely now. Arthur nodded, popping open the briefcase and extracting data crystals. He projected their contents onto the penthouse's holographic display. Lady Lyrian Vera, low-ranking noble from Veril's northern archipelago. He read. Known for her fascination with human culture and progressive views on interspecies relations. Lyrian's tentacles curled with amusement. And you're Arthur James Kane, top PRA Verillian tech specialist and my official consort for 4 months. James? Arthur groaned. Someone's got a sense of humor. I like it, Lyrian said, stepping closer to the display. Strong, timeless. Like you? Their shoulders brushed as they reviewed the data. Arthur was keenly aware of her warmth, her scent, cinnamon laced with something uniquely alien. Bonded pairs are expected to show physical closeness, synchronized movements, subtle touches, Lyrian said, her fingers grazing his arm. We should practice. Arthur swallowed hard. Yeah. Gotta make it convincing. In Verillian culture, she said, turning to face him, bonding involves a biological resonance. It's deeply intimate. Sounds scientific, Arthur said, distracted by how the penthouse's golden light highlighted the purple streaks in her white hair. Lyrian chuckled softly. More like a soul connection, though not quite. She took his hand. Can I show you? It's harmless. Arthur nodded, curiosity overriding nerves. She guided his hand to her temple, pressing her palm against his. Close your eyes. Feel the energy. He complied, expecting nothing, until a gentle vibration pulsed between them, a warm current flowing from her touch through his body. He inhaled sharply. You feel it? She whispered. Yeah, he breathed. This is the start of resonance, she said, her voice husky. To make our bond convincing, we need to deepen it. Arthur opened his eyes, finding her inches away, her gaze intense. Deepen how? Full resonance requires physical union, she said. It leaves a biological signature other Verillians can sense. The air crackled with tension. You'd be okay with that? Arthur asked cautiously. For the mission? Lyrian's fingers traced his jaw. I've been considering it since you tossed me that rag, Arthur Kane. Your empathy, your quick thinking, it's not just for the mission. Her sincerity caught him off guard. I've never been with anyone non-human, he admitted. And I've never been with a human, she said, her hand resting on his chest. But your species fascinates me. Your adaptability, your passion. You face the cosmos with grit and wonder. Now you're flattering me, Arthur said, managing a sheepish grin. Not at all, she said, her eyes earnest. Humans act where Verillians calculate. It's why we complement each other. Her words stirred pride in Arthur, and something deeper. One more thing, Lyrian said, suddenly serious. A human-Verillian bond can have consequences. Consequences? Arthur raised an eyebrow. Our species are genetically compatible, she said bluntly. Reproduction is possible. Rare, but documented. The implication stunned him. You're saying. I should have mentioned sooner, she said, uncertainty creeping in for the first time. If that changes things. Arthur lifted her chin. It doesn't. I just want the full picture. Their foreheads touched, the energy between them surging. Show me, Arthur whispered. How to resonate. Lyrian's smile was answer enough. She led him deeper into the penthouse, city lights casting patterns on their skin as they shed clothes and barriers, forging a bond that transcended species. Arthur woke to soft dawn light. Lyrian slept beside him, her white hair splayed across the pillow, tentacles twitching faintly in her dreams. Last night's resonance had shifted something fundamental. He felt her presence like a low hum, a harmony vibrating in his core. Brushing hair from her face, he marveled at how fast his world had changed. 3 days ago, he was a gate-fixing tech. Now, he was bonded to a Verillian, facing a galactic conspiracy. The comm panel buzzed. Arthur slipped out of bed, keeping the volume low. Zara's face appeared, her expression grave. Kane, is Lyrian there? She's sleeping, Arthur said, angling the screen away. What's up? Wake her. It's urgent. Arthur roused Lyrian, who sensed the tension instantly. Ambassador? She asked, wrapping a sheet around herself. The treaty signing's been moved to tomorrow night, after the gala, Zara said. Black Veil is pushing for an early signing to exploit unresolved issues. Impossible, Lyrian protested. The terms aren't finalized. That's why I suspect Black Veil, Zara said. A failed treaty means war. You have less than 24 hours to identify the conspirators. Your identities and attire will arrive by noon. The transmission cut off. Well, Arthur said, nothing like a tight deadline. Lyrian's tentacles curved with resolve. We need the gala guest list to pinpoint suspects. She stood, the sheet falling away, unself-conscious. Arthur smiled at her ease with nudity, so unlike human instincts. What? She asked, catching his grin. Just enjoying the interspecies vibe, he teased. Her eyes twinkled. Last night, very diplomatic. That's what we're calling it. They laughed, the humor easing the mission's weight. That morning, they analyzed the gala's guest list, flagging officials with access to treaty talks or gate tech. Look for military ties, weapons industry, or isolationist leanings, Lyrian said. Their resonance sharpened their teamwork. Arthur anticipated her thoughts, finishing her sentences as they built suspect profiles. This resonance, he said during a break. It boosts how we work together, doesn't it? Lyrian nodded, touching his cheek. Biological harmony creates empathic awareness. It's stronger than I expected with a human. Unusual? He asked. Very, she said, her gaze soft. It suggests exceptional compatibility. Her words carried weight. This was no longer just a cover. At noon, a secure courier delivered briefcases with attire and comms gear. Lyrian's dress, a Verillian masterpiece, shifted colors with her movements, accentuating her alien beauty. Arthur's tuxedo blended human style with Verillian flourishes, marking him as her consort. Verillian nobles will sense our resonance, Lyrian said as they dressed. It's our best asset. So last night wasn't just fun, Arthur teased, adjusting his cufflinks. Multifaceted, she replied, smiling. All satisfying. A transmission interrupted them, text only, heavily encrypted. Coordinates. Evidence secured. Meet before gala. Trust no one. It's from Zara's covert agent, Lyrian confirmed. Coordinates are near the Nexus Station access terminal. Cutting it close, Arthur said, checking the time. 2 hours before the gala. No choice, Lyrian said. If they've ID'd the conspirators, we need it. Arthur frowned. Why not send the data directly? Quantum comms can be intercepted, she said, taking his hand. We go together. Our resonance makes us stronger. Her confidence steadied him. As they prepped, Lyrian studied him. I didn't expect a human to embrace Verillian ways so easily, she said. It's remarkable. Let's say I had a great teacher, Arthur replied, pulling her close. Her tentacles curled with delight. We've got a few hours, she whispered. Should we reinforce our resonance? For the mission, Arthur grinned. Absolutely. Their kiss sealed a bond that began with a glitch and now shaped their fight. The diplomatic quarter buzzed with pre-gala activity. Shuttles dropped off dignitaries, drones patrolled overhead. Arthur and Lyrian blended into the crowd, a Verillian noble and her consort. There, Lyrian whispered, nodding toward a shadowed corner near the Nexus Station entrance. A cloaked figure lurked in the dark. Something felt off about their stillness. Hold up, Arthur said, grabbing her arm. Something's wrong. They approached cautiously. The figure didn't move. Hello? Arthur called softly. Zara, send us. No response. Lyrian gently turned the figure, and gasped. The agent slumped forward, a neural dart embedded in their neck. Verillian military issue, she whispered, lowering the body. Instant kill. Arthur scanned the area, adrenaline spiking. The killer could still be here. Lyrian searched the body, finding nothing, until Arthur noticed a bulge at the collar. He retrieved a tiny data chip. Got it. A drone's whine froze them. We can't be caught with a body. Lyrian hissed. Black veil will frame us. Arthur thought fast. Public affection. Drones respect privacy for non-threatening moments. He pulled Lyrian against a shadowed wall, shielding the body, and kissed her deeply. She responded instantly, arms around his neck, their resonance amplifying the moment. Through slitted eyes, Arthur saw the drone hover, then depart, its privacy protocol triggered. Clear, he murmured against her lips. Lyrian's breath was uneven. Impressive tactic. Standard human procedure? Only for the creative, he said, smirking. Let's move. They tucked the body deeper into the shadows and headed for the station entrance, hand in hand. In a private transport tube to the orbital platform, Arthur examined the chip. Lyrian pulled out a secure scanner. The chip's data displayed fragmented schematics of the gate network, including Arthur's gate. Modified protocols, Arthur said, his tech mind dissecting the diagrams. They embedded a feedback loop in the energy matrix. Lyrian's face darkened. That's how I arrived without clothes, a test of the disruption. Worse, Arthur said, pointing to a code string. At full power, it'll collapse the entire gate network, spawning micro-singularities at every site, including the treaty signing. They plan to assassinate both leaders and cripple the diplomatic grid. Lyrian realized. The tube reached Nexus Station, a glittering orbital marvel. Earth glowed through vast windows, a blue jewel against the void. The protocol activates at 9 p.m., Arthur said. During the treaty signing. Lyrian gripped his hand. We need to find the trigger device and stop it. And warn Zara, Arthur added. Too risky, Lyrian said. We don't know who's compromised. It's just us, Arthur. The gala entrance loomed, a gateway to the conspiracy's heart. Security scanned their credentials. Lady Vera and consort. The attendant announced. Lyrian leaned close, her lips brushing Arthur's ear. What if my arrival wasn't random? What if someone wanted us to meet, to stop this? Arthur pondered as they entered the opulent ballroom. You think we were set up? Maybe, she said, her tentacles pensive. A human engineer and a Verillian security officer. The perfect team. Does it matter? Arthur asked, meeting her gaze. I'm glad it happened. Her eyes softened. So am I. The gala dazzled with chandeliers, holographic art, and galactic elites. Arthur and Lyrian moved seamlessly, their bond making their cover airtight. Zara's by the east window. Lyrian whispered, nodding toward the ambassador, who was chatting with the PRA president. Arthur noted security positions and exits. We need her alone, he said. A public confrontation could spook Black Veil into acting early. Lyrian grabbed 2 champagne flutes from a passing server, handing one to Arthur. Follow my lead. They circled the room, timing their approach as the president stepped away. Zara spotted them, her face unreadable. Lady Vera, she greeted. A pleasure. And your consort. Ambassador, Lyrian said, bowing. Can we speak privately? We've uncovered something about human Verillian cultural exchange. Zara's eyes glinted. The observation deck will do. On the balcony, overlooking Earth, Arthur activated a security field. Your agent's dead, he said, watching Zara closely. We found the chip. We know about the gate modifications. Zara remained composed. You're more effective than I anticipated. She turned to the railing, gazing at Earth. How did you know I was involved? The dart was Verillian military, Lyrian said. But the chip was a deliberate trap. You wanted us to find it. The modifications were controlled, Arthur added. A staged crisis, not a collapse. You orchestrated it. Zara's lips curved faintly. A calculated risk to show the stakes. I arranged your arrival, Lyrian, to unite 2 ideal agents, an upright Verillian and an adaptable human. You manipulated us, Arthur snapped. Put lives at risk for a charade? For survival, Zara retorted. The treaty is weak. It'll fail without a shared crisis. Black Veil was my creation, A fiction to unite our species. Lyrian's tentacles stiffened. You created Black Veil? Including my arrival? I tweaked the protocol, yes, Zara admitted. To bring you together. Arthur's anger flared. And our bond? Part of your plan too? I chose you for compatibility, Zara said softer. But your resonance exceeded my predictions. Now what? Arthur demanded. You stage your show, and we play along? Your choice, Zara said. The performance begins in 18 minutes. Shape the outcome, or step aside. You're asking us to lie, Lyrian said. I'm asking you to build peace, Zara corrected. A tremor shook the station, lights flickering. That wasn't planned, Zara said, alarmed. Arthur's instincts kicked in. Someone's hijacked your protocol. Black Veil isn't just your puppet. Lyrian's eyes widened. You created a fiction, but real extremists took over. Zara's composure cracked. If an agent turned rogue. Another stronger tremor hit. We need the control center, Arthur urged. Your show's about to blow up. As they left the balcony, a voice boomed over the station's comms. Attention, diplomats. This is the true Black Veil. Your treaty is a betrayal. In 15 minutes, the gate network will collapse, and your peace will burn with it. Arthur and Lyrian locked eyes. Not just Zara's crisis, Lyrian said. There's a mastermind behind it all. Nexus Station shuddered like a ship caught in a cosmic storm. Emergency lights flashed red, alarms wailed relentlessly, and the air in the control center reeked of ozone and sweat. Technicians, human and Verillian alike, darted between consoles, their faces taut with fear. Arthur Kane shoved through the chaos, his shoulder colliding with a technician shouting about cascading failures. He didn't pause. Every second was critical, and the diplomatic gate, the one that had brought Lyrian to him, now stood at the heart of an impending catastrophe. Status! Ambassador Zara barked as she stormed into the room, her silver-white hair glinting under the flickering lights, her head tentacles curling with tension. Her ornate diplomatic robes looked out of place amid the pandemonium. Lyrian followed close behind, her sharp green eyes scanning the room, her hand instinctively resting on her abdomen, a protective gesture Arthur recognized instantly. Through their resonance, he sensed the life growing within her, a biological connection surpassing any technology he'd ever known. A human technician, pale as a ghost, looked up from his console. The gate network's destabilizing. Dimensional anchors are overloading, triggering feedback across all stations. If we don't stop it, the system collapses in 6 minutes. Arthur elbowed his way to the main console, fingers flying across touchscreens. Data flooded the display like a torrent, but his engineer's mind sifted through the noise for critical details. The saboteurs locked out override commands, he said, his voice low but razor-sharp. Standard protocols won't stop it. They've embedded a feedback loop in the energy matrix. Lyrian stepped beside him, her shoulder brushing his, sending a warm pulse through their resonance. They turned Zara's own plan against us, she said, her eyes flashing with anger. The real Black Veil hijacked her protocols. Zara clenched her fists, her tentacles quivering faintly, a rare sign of unease. I underestimated them, she admitted. But if the network collapses, microsingularities will tear apart every station, including the treaty signing site. Arthur peered through the thick glass window into the gate chamber. The diplomatic gate glowed an unstable purple, a far cry from the gentle blue of Lyrian's first arrival. Its energy field churned violently, a caged tempest. Can we disconnect it manually? He asked, already suspecting the answer. The technician shook his head. The energy couplers inside the gate field. Someone would have to enter and detach it from the dimensional anchor. But the field would shred them before they could touch it. Not if you time it right, Arthur said, shrugging off his tuxedo jacket, revealing toned muscles beneath his white shirt. He turned to Lyrian. During a harmonic shift, I can disconnect the coupler and ride the energy wave out. Zara frowned. Survival odds are under 5%. It's suicide. Doing nothing is suicide, Arthur shot back, his gaze unwavering. The treaty, the station, thousands of lives, it all hinges on this. He looked at Lyrian, seeing fear in her eyes but also unshakable trust. I need you at the console, guiding me through the shifts. Lyrian gripped his hand, her fingers tight. Arthur, let me go. I know the gate's structure. You're carrying our child. He interrupted, his voice gentle but firm. He placed his hand on her abdomen, feeling the faint pulse of life through their resonance. I'm not risking both of you. Tears glistened in her eyes, but she held them back. You don't know for sure I'm pregnant. Verillian biology is complex. I feel it, Arthur said, his eyes locked on hers. Through our resonance. I know. He offered a small smile to ease her. It has to be me, Lyrian. She took a deep breath, her tentacles curling with resolve. Harmonic shifts occur every 12.8 seconds. You have 2.3 seconds to detach the coupler before the field stabilizes. If you're off by a fraction. I've handled tighter specs, Arthur said, winking. Like when I fixed the gate for your bare arrival. She laughed, a choked sound through her tears. Don't remind me of my worst moment. Your worst, my best, he replied, pressing his forehead to hers. Their resonance flared, a warm energy binding them deeper than words could. Zara stepped forward, her voice low. Your human is brave to the point of folly, Lyrian. But if anyone can do this, it's him. Both of us, Lyrian corrected, her eyes still on Arthur. That's what makes humans extraordinary. The gate screeched, its energy field emitting a low roar that shook the floor. Alarms blared, critical failure in 5 minutes. Evacuation commencing immediately. Technicians flooded toward the exits, leaving the control center nearly deserted. That's my cue, Arthur said, heading for the gate chamber. At the threshold, he glanced back at Lyrian, her white hair glowing under the red lights. If I don't make it out, you will, she cut in, her voice sharp as a blade. Because I'm not raising our kid alone, Arthur Kane. He nodded, her certainty fueling him. Together, right? Together, she whispered. The gate chamber was an arena of contained chaos. The diplomatic gate, a 10-meter Verillian alloy frame, vibrated violently, its purple energy field swirling like a trapped black hole. The air was thick with the scent of scorched metal and ionized energy, prickling Arthur's skin. He stood at the field's edge, heart pounding but mind razor-focused. Years as a technician had prepared him for this moment, but nothing could brace him for facing death to save those he loved. Lyrian, ready? He said into his calm, his voice steady despite the adrenaline raging within. Harmonic shift in 10 seconds, she replied, her voice clear through the speaker. Couplers at the frame's base, left side. Be careful, Arthur. He took a deep breath, muscles tensing. Ready. 5, 3, 2, now. He dove into the gate field as it flashed green, a fleeting moment of stability between cycles. The sensation was unreal. His body seemed to dissolve, both solid and liquid, existing everywhere at once. Time stretched, each second an eternity. The energy coupler glowed ahead, a complex alloy block linking the gate to other dimensions. It shone like a small star, but it was overloading, its circuits flickering with the threat of collapse. Arthur, 2.3 seconds. Lyrian's voice echoed, as if from all directions. He reached for the coupler, fingers seeking the release with the precision he'd honed fixing Earth machinery. But it resisted, locked tight by the swirling energy. Stubborn, he growled, pouring all his strength into it. Muscles strained, sweat mingling with the field's surreal sensation. 1 second! Lyrian shouted. With a primal roar, Arthur yanked. The coupler tore free, sparking wildly. The gate field spun into a frenzy, a vortex of energy swallowing him. Ride the collapse! Lyrian commanded. Now, Arthur! He pushed off the frame, letting the energy wave carry him. For a moment he glimpsed other dimensions, glimmering worlds, infinite possibilities. Then he was hurled back to reality, crashing onto the chamber floor. The gate went dark, its frame silent. The station's tremors ceased, emergency lights shifting to a steady white. Arthur lay there, gasping, realizing he was completely naked. The gate had stripped his clothes, just as it had Lyrian's. Damn tradition, he muttered, aching but alive. Lyrian rushed in, dropping to her knees beside him, eyes shimmering with tears and joy. Arthur, you! She laughed, half hysterical. Naked again! Fair's fair, he groaned, struggling to sit. We've swapped roles. She draped her dress's outer cloak around him, echoing their first meeting. You did it, she whispered, stroking his hair. You saved everyone. He clasped her hand, their resonance blazing. We did it. Zara entered, her keen eyes sweeping the scene. Humans are more resourceful than I credited, she said, her voice mingling admiration and relief. The network's stabilizing. The treaty will be reinforced. What about Black Veil? Arthur asked, pulling the cloak tighter. Exposed, Zara replied. Your heroics were recorded by drones. The story writes itself. Human tenacity and Verillian precision saved the day. Not just a story, Lyrian said, standing beside Arthur, still gripping his hand. The truth. Zara nodded, her tentacles relaxing. I owe you an apology. My methods were flawed, though my intent was sound. My fabricated Black Veil gave real extremists an opening. Save it for the hearings, Arthur said, firm but not harsh. There'll be questions. Indeed, Zara conceded. But first, medical checks, especially for you, Lyrian, given your condition. Arthur and Lyrian exchanged a glance. Is she okay? He asked, voice laced with worry. Just precaution, Zara said, then turned, signaling an approaching medical team. As the medics neared, Lyrian pulled Arthur aside. I feel our child, she whispered, her hand on her abdomen. Verillian biology confirms quickly. After our resonance, I knew. Arthur's breath caught, his hand covering hers. A human Verillian child. The first of its kind. Our child, she said, her gaze tender. Ours alone. He smiled, a thought sparking. If we're this far in, I think it's time to make it official. He knelt, still wrapped in the cloak, a mix of absurdity and sincerity. Lyrian, will you? Yes, she interrupted, pulling him up, her tentacles wrapping around his neck. Whatever human custom this is. Yes. You didn't let me finish, he teased, embracing her. Humans talk too much when action's needed, she replied, kissing him fiercely. Their resonance flared, a testament that they'd overcome not just the conspiracy but the divide between species. The moment shattered when the main console blared. A holographic figure appeared, not Zara, but a masked figure, their distorted voice echoing. You think you've won? Black Veil isn't just a group. We're an idea. Your treaty will crumble, and we'll return. The image vanished, leaving a heavy silence. Arthur and Lyrian locked eyes, the fight far from over. They won't quit, Lyrian said, her voice steely. Neither will we, Arthur replied, squeezing her hand. Together, we're unstoppable. The medical team arrived, escorting them from the gate chamber. In the corridor, Nexus Station's soft white lights contrasted with the darkness they'd faced. Arthur felt his resonance with Lyrian, a bond not just biological but a vow. You know, he said, I used to think fixing gates was the biggest challenge. She laughed, her tentacles curling with delight. Compared to fatherhood? Gates were just practice. They were led to the medical bay, where human and Verillian doctors worked side by side, a small testament to the alliance they'd saved. A Verillian doctor, tentacles shimmering with silver patterns, scanned Lyrian with a handheld device. Pregnancy stable, he confirmed. The child is a marvel, a perfect hybrid, blending human and Verillian traits. Arthur exhaled, still holding Lyrian's hand. Name? He asked her. Ilara, she said instantly. After a moon of Jupiter. A name bridging our worlds. Ilara, Arthur echoed, nodding. Perfect. As they prepared to leave the bay, an encrypted message pinged Arthur's comm. He activated it, and Zara's face appeared, her expression grim. "We've apprehended Commander Daniels," she said. "He was the mastermind of the true Black Veil, twisting my plan to incite war." "Daniels?" Arthur reeled. "The security commander he'd once reported to, a PRA veteran, a traitor? He's confessed," Zara continued. "But his allies remain at large. Black Veil doesn't die with him." Lyrian tightened her grip on Arthur's hand. "They'll strike again. The treaty's still fragile." Zara nodded. "Which is why I propose a new role for you, Interspecies ambassadors, representing both the PRA and Verillians. You've proven yourselves not just through action but through your bond." Arthur and Lyrian shared a look. "Ambassadors?" he asked. "I'm just a tech." "You're a symbol," Zara corrected. "A human who saved the Gate network. A father to the first hybrid child. You're a bridge between species." Lyrian smiled. "We'll do it. On one condition." Zara raised an eyebrow. "Name it." "No more manipulation," Lyrian said, her voice sharp. "We build peace with truth." Zara bowed her head. "Agreed." The message ended, and Arthur turned to Lyrian. "From gate glitches to ambassadors. What a detour." She laughed, leaning into him. "The best detour." As they left the medical bay, Arthur glanced through the station's vast window. Earth glimmered below, a blue gem in the dark. He thought of Alara, of the future they were forging, not just for their child but for the galaxy. Black Veil remained a threat, but he and Lyrian had faced the abyss and emerged stronger. Humans, he'd learned, shone brightest when everything fell apart, and with Lyrian by his side, nothing was impossible. 6 months later, Arthur Kane and Lyrian stood before a new gate, a marvel of human and Verillian engineering. Its frame gleamed, free of the glitches that had sparked their journey. Arthur adjusted Lyrian's ceremonial cloak, her pregnancy now visibly pronounced. "Ready for our first diplomatic mission, Mrs. Kane?" She smiled, her green eyes twinkling. "As the first human Verillian ambassadorial pair, we're setting the standard. One condition, though." "What's that?" "Keep your clothes on. No intergalactic wardrobe malfunctions," she teased, giggling. Her laughter mingled with the gate's soft hum as they stepped through, not into chaos, but into a future they'd forged together, a galaxy where understanding began with a glitch and blossomed into a bond that saved worlds. The Galactic Treaty, now strengthened by their actions, had ushered in an era of peace. Yet Black Veil's threat lingered. In the hearings following the crisis, Zara admitted her role in creating a fictional Black Veil, but revealed that a high-ranking PRA officer, Commander Daniels, had betrayed them, leading the real Black Veil. Daniels was in custody, but his followers remained in the shadows, a reminder that peace was fragile. Arthur and Lyrian, now ambassadors, traveled the galaxy, fostering interspecies cooperation. Their daughter, named Alara after a moon of Jupiter, was a beacon of hope, the first hybrid, blending human tenacity with Verillian precision. Alara's biology, studied by scientists of both species, promised breakthroughs in medicine and technology. As they stepped through the gate, Arthur felt his resonance with Lyrian, a harmony that never faded. "You know," he said, resting his hand on her abdomen, "I once thought fixing gates was my biggest challenge." She laughed, her tentacles curling around his arm. "Compared to fatherhood? Gates were just warm-ups." They emerged on a Verillian planet, greeted by nobles whose eyes held reverence. Their resonance, now legendary, radiated a biological signature every Verillian could sense. That day's ceremony launched an interspecies academy, where young humans and Verillians would learn to collaborate. Standing before the crowd, Arthur spoke, his voice ringing with HFY pride. "Humans aren't perfect. We're messy, impulsive, sometimes downright foolish. But when the odds stack against us, we rise. We fight. And alongside you, our Verillian allies, we build." He took Lyrian's hand. "This is our future, not one species alone, but all of us together." Lyrian followed, her voice melodic yet powerful. "Verillians calculate, plan, and seek perfection. But from humans, we've learned boldness, forgiveness, and the belief that love can bridge even the stars." The crowd, human and Verillian, erupted in applause, their cheers a unified roar. As the ceremony ended, Arthur and Lyrian stood on a balcony, gazing at the planet's star-filled sky. "Did you ever think we'd end up here?" he asked. "Never," she admitted. "But when that gate failed, and I stood there, not a stitch on me, watching you blush, I knew you were someone extraordinary." He laughed heartily. "Extraordinary crazy, maybe. The best kind of crazy," she said, kissing him under the starlight. As they prepared to return to Earth, an encrypted message arrived from Zara, now a senior advisor. "Black Veil is reorganizing. A new cell has emerged at the galaxy's edge. Prepare." Arthur and Lyrian exchanged a glance, their resonance flaring with resolve. "Looks like peace needs defending," he said. "Together," she replied, her hand tightening in his. They stepped back through the gate, not just as ambassadors but as symbols of humanity's greatest strength, facing darkness with light, building from chaos, and loving despite all barriers. Their oath, sworn beneath the stars, would guide them, for Alara, for the Alliance, and for a galaxy daring to dream of unity.